The smoke of the crater curled into the morning sky, a silent witness to the dawn of a new and terrifying era. Corin stood at the edge, his breath catching as the ground began to tremble beneath his boots. From the depths, Mara emerged. Her hands were stained with coal, her eyes burning with a fire that outshone the embers. Behind her, the impossible took shape. The black Null unfurled wings like textured shadows, blotting out the light. "I led them here, Mara," Corin whispered, the weight of his betrayal heavy in the cold air. Mara didn't flinch. She looked at the ancient beast, then back to the man who had nearly cost them everything. "Get on," she commanded. There was no room for apologies in the war that was about to find them. Then the fog parted. Lord Tyron of House Vale appeared, descending on the back of his silver dragon, Mirelands. "Step away from the beast, girl," Tyron shouted, his voice echoing with the authority of a High Lord. Mara climbed onto the black Null's neck, her grip steady on the scales that felt like cold iron. "I am the granddaughter of the king," she declared, "and I yield to no lord of smoke and mirrors." She leaned in and whispered a single word: "Fly." The world beneath them seemed to explode. The launch was a cataclysm. The force flattened the fog for miles, launching them into the brightening sky. But the air was already crowded. From the east came Lady Isara, riding the crimson fury of Solix. The black Null opened its maw, but no fire emerged. Instead, a high-frequency scream tore through the heavens. It was the voice of a master. Myrath and Solix recoiled in midair, their primal instincts overriding their rider's commands. Lady Isara fought for control, her face twisted in a mask of desperation as Solix plummeted toward the earth. But Isara would not be shamed. She drove her dragon into a reckless diving strike, aimed at the Null's flank. The black Null was faster. It folded its wings, dropping like a stone, only to launch upward with predatory precision. In a flash of scales and shadow, the Null caught Solix's tail in its massive teeth, pinning the crimson beast in the sky. "Yield, Isara." Mara's voice cut through the wind. "The old wars are over. Help me end this before more blood is shed." Seeing the sheer dominance of the ancient dragon, Isara finally lowered her head in reluctant surrender. But the sky was not yet clear. From the south, a bone-pale shadow emerged, Gorveth the Ashen. On its back sat Lord Kaelin Morvain, his eyes burning with a resentment that had festered for decades. The black Null hit Gorveth like a falling shadow. The clash sent tremors through the air that could be felt for miles. Fire and shadow clashed above the Mirelands, a dance of ancient power that turned the sky into a battlefield. Mara saw the ferocity in Kaelin's eyes. He didn't want a kingdom. He wanted destruction. She wouldn't let him have it. Mara commanded the black Null to hold, hovering motionless in the eye of the storm. "Kaelin," she called out, "surrender the bond, or be destroyed by the very power you seek to steal." The black Null let out a second dominance call, a sound so profound it seemed to break the very spirit of the pale dragon. Gorvath's will shattered. The ancient beast turned away, leaving its rider to fall toward the earth below. Kaelin Morvain hit the ground and rolled, his ambition buried in the mud of the lands he wished to rule. As the fires died down and the stars began to peek through the smoke, Mara stood on a hilltop with Corin by her side. "They call me the false heir Corin, but maybe that's exactly what this world needs. Someone who owes nothing to the past." The black Null watched her with patient copper eyes, a guardian of a future that was yet to be written. Mara reached out, her hand resting against the dragon's snout. "We have time," she whispered, "all the time in the world." And so, the war of the dragon houses ended, not with a crown, but with a promise of freedom.